hole, jump it. I didn't know this when I was there, and it cost me 10 years extra. Hear me? There are young people today who are sleeping 8 hours in one day. Let me give you an advice. If you sleep 8 hours out of 24 years, by the time you are 30 years, you've slept for 10 years of your life. Sleeping for 10 years at age 30. Can I tell you the honest truth? I say this with every sense of respect to everybody, but particularly to the young people. Be careful with this over-seeking comfort at an early stage in life. We have a generation that is so passionate about comfort. At age 20, you are already looking for, I don't want anything that pushes me. Hi. You read the Bible for 2 hours, you sleep for 4 hours. I can't go until there is a car that moves me around. You have to be careful. I must walk the walks of him that sent me while it is day. Jesus himself said it, for the night cometh, even for Jesus, when no man can walk again. There are people today who had an opportunity to have built estates and built buildings that they and their children and their children's children will eat from. But selfishness and distraction did not allow them to know they were getting old. Lo and behold, they opened their eyes and now they are 60, 70 years and not even a single building of residence. I'm not being sarcastic, forgive me, but I have to teach this. And many of us young people, we spent our lives criticizing men of God, criticizing parents, criticizing politicians, forgetting that we are also coming to that same stage. Many of us are right here and we are messing up even more than those that we criticized, because the time it takes to prepare is the same time it takes to criticize. While you are criticizing and talking about others, time is still moving you forward. Prepared or not, one day the curtain will be opened. Is God speaking to us now? The year of legacy and the final stage of your life, the last 75 years, is called the stage of rest. Not death, rest. If you started this journey completely at 75, you should almost be ready to finish your assignment, only consolidating and blessing the name of the Lord. There are few people who were able to demonstrate that in their lifetime. One of them was Billy Graham, a man who finished his assignment and was still alive to turn back. Everyone knew that this man had finished his assignment. The mystery of Pharaoh's dream is a lesson for everybody alive, that seasons are changing. Seasons are changing. Seasons of opportunity will come. Now let us look at Joseph's advice. I have to run. I wish I had time to walk this. Genesis 41:37. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. 38. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is, in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God has shown ye all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according to my word shall all my people be ruled. Thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. He took his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen. Now, you know that the season just changed for Joseph. Forget about the season for Egypt. Joseph's season just changed. Yesterday, you were a young man who would need to beg for water, but God took you on the seasons for helping interpret seasons. Your own season too has changed. But Joseph, make sure you follow your own advice first, because that law also applies to you. He took off his ring, put it on Joseph's hand, arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, put a gold chain about his neck. Our generation call this, I don't know what, have arrived. That's it there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is that deceptive demon of arrival there. I have arrived. And he made him to ride on the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bow the knee, and made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. 44. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand. My goodness, everybody say seasons. Did Joseph know that one day his bones they would take out of Egypt? Look at a man who is receiving a public global commendation. I am Pharaoh, and without you shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. Read on, please. And Pharaoh, he called Zaphnath-Paneah, and he gave him a wife, Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. Let's go to, okay, we'll read down to 49 and then we'll jump to 53 just to redeem time. Joseph was how old? Please talk to me. How old was Joseph? Why do you think the Bible would add his age? What do we need his age to do? To know the reality of seasons. He was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout the land, all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by handfuls. And he gathered up the food of the 7 years, which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities. The food of the field, which was round about every city, he laid up in the same. Last verse, and then we'll move to 53. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much, until he left numbering, for it was without number. Go to 53. And the 7 years of plenteousness that was in the land of Egypt were ended. 7 years of plenty can end. 7 years of plenty can end. 7 years of plenty can end. Next verse. And the 7 years of death began to come, according as Joseph had said. And the death was in all the land, and in all the land of Egypt. But in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried unto Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, go to Joseph. Go to the person who has the formula for connecting seasons. Go to that man. He's mastered how to preserve bread regardless season. Let me tell you this. When you see people whose results don't change and it looks like they are ever rising, it's not because this law does not happen. They have followed the advice of Jacob, of Joseph. So even when there is famine, there is still rainy season in their life. And you are wondering, is this rainy season universal? No, they created their own Goshen out of Egypt. Are we together now? Yes. When the Bible says the path of the just is as a shining light, it says it because there is an advantage of the wisdom of Joseph to the saints. So what was the advice of Joseph? Very quickly, because we have to pray. Is someone learning something? The advice of Joseph was save and invest. This is not in financial terms at all. Just pay attention. Save and